Unravel the chilling mystery of Ashraf Marwan, the Egyptian agent whose shocking fall from a London balcony left the world questioning, was it betrayal murder or a spy's final act? Ashraf Marwan, a name shrouded in mystery, was known by the codename Angel within Israel's Mossad intelligence agency. His life is a grand puzzle, a complex tale of espionage and betrayal that makes him a controversial figure to this day. His legacy is a double mirror. He is celebrated as a national hero by both Egypt and Israel, an almost unbelievable feat for a spy. Though he was the son-in-law of Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser and a close aide to President Anwar Sadat, he is regarded as Israel's most valuable source of intelligence leading up to the 1973 Yom Kippur War. However, a major question lingers. Was Marwan a genuine Israeli spy or a double agent planted by Egypt to deceive the enemy? His actions saved thousands of Israeli lives but caused significant harm to Egypt. His warnings, particularly about Egypt's 1973 attack, though somewhat inaccurate in timing, helped Israel prepare and mobilize forces, averting a catastrophic defeat. This mystery reached its climax on June 27, 2007, when Marwan suddenly died in London after falling from the balcony of his apartment. His death occurred just weeks after his identity as a spy was publicly exposed, raising questions about a meticulously staged assassination. To this day, the truth behind the death of Angel remains an enigma, an unresolved story that leaves a complex legacy and unanswered hypotheses for posterity. Early life and background. Ashraf Marwan was born in 1944 in Egypt into a powerful and prestigious family that shaped his path from an early age. His grandfather was the Chief Justice of Egypt's highest Sharia court, while his father was a general in the Egyptian army, a status that brought the family influence and respect. Growing up in such an environment, Marwan received a high-quality education and quickly displayed his talents. In 1965, he graduated with distinction in chemical engineering from Cairo University. Shortly after he joined the Egyptian army, a traditional step for young men of his social standing in Egypt at the time. However, the greatest turning point in his life came in 1966 when he married Mona Nasser, the daughter of President Gamal Abdel Nasser. This marriage instantly elevated Marwan's status, transforming him from a promising young man into a central figure in Egypt's political vortex. After the marriage, he served in the army for 2 years before being appointed to a significant position. In 1968, he began working under Sami Sharaf, the head of the presidential office and Egypt's intelligence agency. That same year, his first son Gamal was born, and the Marwan family moved to London, ostensibly for Marwan to continue his studies in chemistry. However, Marwan's extravagant lifestyle in London led to his recall to Egypt. His relationship with President Nasser also became strained to the point that Nasser reportedly asked Mona to divorce him. These tensions may have planted the seeds for Marwan's later decisions, leading him down the path to becoming one of the most controversial spies in history. Now in Egyptian politics. After marrying Mona Nasser, Ashraf Marwan became a member of the president's family, a position that granted him unprecedented opportunities. He served in the army for 2 years post-marriage before transitioning to work in the presidential office. In 1968, Marwan was appointed to a role under Sami Sharaf, the head of the presidential office and Egypt's intelligence agency. This position allowed him access to classified information and participation in high-level meetings, serving as a critical stepping stone for his later political career. Also in 1968, Marwan and Mona welcomed their first son Gamal. Shortly afterward, Marwan moved to London to pursue a master's degree in chemistry, though his true purpose may have been to indulge in a lavish lifestyle. This lifestyle quickly drew the attention of Egyptian intelligence agencies. Rumors of an affair with the wife of a Kuwaiti sheikh further raised concerns. As a result, Marwan was summoned back to Egypt, a move that reflected President Nasser's growing distrust of him. The relationship between Marwan and his father-in-law became strained. Nasser, known for his modest lifestyle, was outraged by Marwan's ostentatious display of wealth and indulgent behavior. Despite Marwan's attempts to reconcile their relationship, never fully recovered. Nasser even requested that Mona divorce Marwan, but she refused. This discord is believed to have motivated Marwan to seek connections outside Egypt, leading him to contact the Israeli embassy in London and embark on a new chapter of his life as a spy. Personal conflicts and disillusionment with Egypt's political elite pushed Marwan onto the path of espionage, a journey he would follow until his death. Espionage activities for Israel. After being recalled to Egypt and facing a strained relationship with his father-in-law, Ashraf Marwan, returned to London and began a new chapter in his life. In late 1969 or early 1970, he took a bold and unexpected step, contacting the Israeli embassy in London. This action opened the door to a complex and dangerous relationship with Mossad. Marwan's first meeting with a Mossad agent, codenamed Alex Duby, took place at a London cafe. To prove his worth, Marwan provided samples of intelligence documents. This action quickly convinced Mossad of his potential. The documents Marwan supplied were not mere information, but high-level classified materials that gave Israel deep insights into Egypt's leadership. Marwan's motives remain a subject of debate. Some believe he spied for financial gain, dissatisfied with the allowances from his family, and desiring a more extravagant lifestyle. Others suggest his motives were ideological, possibly opposing Soviet influence over Egypt and wanting to help Egypt break free from communist control. Some even speculate that he sought to defect to the West or destabilize Egypt's political system. Whatever his motives, Marwan became an invaluable source of intelligence. He provided Israel with critical information, including Egypt's military plans, arms deals, and minutes of high-level meetings, such as discussions between Sadat and Soviet leader Brezhnev. His role became particularly prominent when he issued key warnings about the impending Yom Kippur War in 1973. Despite some inaccuracies in timing, his information helped Israel prepare and mobilize forces, altering the course of the war. However, these inaccuracies later fueled suspicions that he was a double agent. Role in the Yom Kippur War, 1973. Ashraf Marwan's role in the 1973 Yom Kippur War is pivotal, but also the source of controversies regarding his loyalty. While his intelligence saved many lives, the inaccuracies in timing led some in Israel's intelligence community to suspect he was a double agent. In April 1973, Marwan warned Israel of an impending Egyptian attack. Israel mobilized its forces and spent millions of dollars preparing, but the attack turned out to be a military exercise. This incident severely damaged Marwan's credibility with Mossad and other Israeli intelligence officials, who began to suspect he might be part of an Egyptian deception plan. However, Marwan issued another warning on October 4, 1973, using the emergency code phrase, "lots of chemicals." He reported that war was imminent. Although the timing was slightly off, it was sufficient for Israel to mobilize its reserves. Just 2 days later on, Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, Egyptian and Syrian forces launched a coordinated attack on Israel, initiating the war. Although Marwan's warning was not precise in timing, it played a crucial role in alerting Israel to the looming threat. It gave the Israeli military enough time to prepare and respond to the surprise attack. Thanks to this intelligence, Israel avoided a far greater disaster. However, the incident also raised a significant question. Did Marwan intentionally provide inaccurate timing to ensure Israel was still caught off guard, thus serving Egypt's interests? Sana''s political career in Egypt. Despite secretly working for Mossad, Ashraf Marwan continued to rise in Egyptian politics. After President Nasser's death in 1970, he quickly became a close aide to Nasser's successor, President Anwar Sadat. Marwan played a key role in Sadat's corrective revolution in 1971, a purge aimed at eliminating pro-Soviet officials who held power under Nasser. This involvement helped Marwan solidify his position and gain Sadat's trust. Through his dedication and contributions, he was appointed Director General of the Presidential Office and later head of Egypt's foreign relations. In these roles, Marwan participated in critical national decisions. He helped Sadat strengthen ties with Saudi Arabia, a move to reduce Egypt's reliance on the Soviet Union. He also played a significant role in securing the purchase of Mirage 5 fighter jets from Libya, a major military deal. However, Marwan's rise came with suspicions. Under Sadat, he amassed a vast fortune, raising questions among the public and officials about the source of his wealth. His business dealings, many of which were considered shady, sparked investigations and debates. In 1976, Marwan was removed from his government position due to public pressure and increasing scrutiny of his unusual wealth. This event marked the end of his political career in Egypt, forcing him to seek a new life abroad. Marwan from grace and life in London. After being ousted from his government position in 1976, Ashraf Marwan's life took a new turn. His unusual wealth became the focus of public scrutiny, compelling him to leave Egypt's political scene. Following the assassination of President Sadat in 1981, Marwan decided to relocate permanently to London, where he began building a vast business empire. In London, he quickly became a prominent figure in business and high society. Marwan leveraged his talents and connections to build a multi-million-pound business empire, including investments in real estate, the oil industry, and technology companies. He was known for his lavish lifestyle, owning a luxurious apartment in central London and frequently hosting extravagant parties. However, his wealth came with a tarnished reputation. He faced accusations of using dubious business practices, manipulating and deceiving partners, which earned him many enemies in the international business community. Along with his move to London, Marwan's role as a Mossad spy also ended. While the exact reasons remain unclear, many sources suggest that Mossad no longer needed him after Israel and Egypt signed the Camp David peace accords in 1978. The war was over, and the role of angel seemed no longer necessary. However, Marwan could not escape his past. In his final years, his identity as a spy was questioned and exposed by some in Israel's intelligence and academic communities. These events pushed his life toward a tragic end, with a mysterious death that remains unresolved. Marwan's life in London was a mix of financial success and moral failure, creating a complex and contradictory figure. Exposure as a spy. The secret of Ashraf Marwan's life as a spy was guarded for decades until a series of events in the late 1990s and early 2000s revealed his identity. It began with a heated debate within Israel's intelligence community about whether Angel's intelligence was part of a deliberate Egyptian deception. In the late 1990s, Israeli historian Aaron Bregman began researching the Yom Kippur War. During this process, he uncovered suspicious evidence about Nasser's mole, or son-in-law, who provided intelligence to Israel. Bregman quickly concluded that this person was Marwan. In his books, Bregman alluded to Marwan's identity without directly naming him. Though Marwan denied the allegations, he contacted Bregman and even gifted him a watch, a strange gesture that fueled further speculation. The situation reached a climax in 2004 when a public dispute erupted between former Israeli intelligence officials. Eli Zera, the head of Israeli military intelligence during the Yom Kippur War, publicly claimed that Angel was a double agent planted by Egypt and that he had tried to inform senior Israeli officials before the war. This damaged the reputation of Zavi Zamir, the head of Mossad at the time, who had trusted Marwan. Zamir sued Zera for defamation, and the lawsuit brought Marwan's secret into the open. During the trial, detailed evidence and testimonies were presented, and on June 14, 2007, Marwan's identity as the spy Angel was officially revealed to the public. The lawsuit forced Israel to acknowledge his role, and it became a headline in newspapers worldwide. This event placed Marwan in a highly dangerous position, as he was no longer a shadowy figure, but an exposed spy potentially facing retaliation from those he had betrayed. His mysterious death just weeks later closed the door on questions about his life, but opened larger ones about his death. Mysterious death. June 27, 2007. Ashraf Marwan's death remains an unsolved mystery, occurring just 13 days after his identity as a spy was exposed. On June 27, 2007, Marwan, aged 63, was found dead after falling from the balcony of his luxurious fifth-floor apartment at Carlton House Terrace, London. His body was discovered in a private rose garden, and he was pronounced dead before an ambulance arrived. Investigations were quickly launched, but several suspicious details raised various hypotheses. One of the most critical pieces of evidence was the disappearance of the manuscript of his unfinished memoir. This memoir was believed to contain explosive secrets about his activities with both Egypt and Israel, as well as his shady business dealings. Its disappearance led many to believe this was a staged murder to prevent future revelations. Several theories emerged about the cause of Marwan's death. The most popular hypothesis is that he was assassinated by Egyptian agents. Some believe the Egyptian government, fearing the secrets Marwan might reveal in his memoir, ordered his elimination. Witnesses reported seeing two Middle Eastern-looking men on his apartment balcony shortly after his fall, further supporting this theory. However, the possibility of Mossad's involvement was dismissed. Killing Marwan would have offered no strategic benefit to Israel and could have caused an international scandal. Moreover, Mossad had protected him for years and had no reason to eliminate a retired spy. The possibility of suicide was also questioned. Friends and family stated that Marwan showed no signs of depression. On the contrary, he was cheerful and had plans for the future, including a dinner on the evening of his death. Marwan was also known to have a fear of death and lived in a state of paranoia, making it unlikely that he took his own life. The official investigation faced significant criticism. One crucial piece of evidence, Marwan's shoes mysteriously disappeared from the scene, raising suspicions of external interference. Freedom of Information requests to access investigative records were denied, leaving the truth about his death shrouded in darkness. Yet legacy and controversy. Ashraf Marwan's death was not the end of his story, but the beginning of ongoing debates and speculation. His legacy is a multifaceted mirror, with each side attempting to paint its own picture of the man. The greatest controversy revolves around whether Marwan was a loyal Israeli spy or an Egyptian double agent. Supporters of the double agent theory argue that the intelligence he provided to Israel, particularly the inaccurate warnings about timing, was part of a sophisticated Egyptian deception plan. They believe Marwan provided enough information to gain Mossad's trust, but not enough for Israel to fully prepare for the surprise attack. Historian Aaron Bregman's book, The Spy Who Fell to Earth, details this hypothesis, portraying Marwan as a patriotic agent who sacrificed himself for Egypt. Conversely, those who believe Marwan was a genuine Israeli spy point out that the intelligence he provided was extremely valuable and caused significant damage to Egypt. They argue that if he were a double agent, he would not have shared details like military plans, arms deals, and high-level meeting minutes, which gave Israel deep insights into Egypt's military capabilities. The Netflix film The Angel, based on Uri Bar-Joseph's book, portrays Marwan as a peace advocate using his position to prevent a destructive war. The complexity of Marwan's legacy is further highlighted by the reactions of both nations after his death. Immediately following his passing, Egypt held a state funeral for him, attended by senior officials. President Hosni Mubarak praised him as a loyal patriot who contributed to national security. On the other hand, Israel publicly acknowledged him as their greatest spy, asserting that his intelligence saved thousands of lives. The fact that both nations regarded Marwan as a hero created an unprecedented paradox in espionage history, making his story both legendary and enigmatic. Say conclusion. Ashraf Marwan's life is a complex tale interwoven with espionage, loyalty, and betrayal, making him one of the most mysterious figures of the 20th century. From being the son-in-law of an Egyptian president to a Mossad spy, Marwan lived a life full of contradictions. His legacy is not only the valuable intelligence he provided, but also an unanswered question about his true loyalty. The greatest question remains: was Marwan a genuine Israeli spy who risked his life to warn about the Yom Kippur War, or an Egyptian double agent planted to deceive the enemy? Both hypotheses have compelling evidence. Supporters of the first theory highlight that his intelligence saved thousands of Israeli lives, while supporters of the second focus on his intentional timing errors, which gave Egypt an advantage in the war's early hours. Although Egypt held a state funeral and declared him a patriot, the fact that he provided damaging intelligence against his country complicates the narrative of his patriotism. Marwan's mysterious death in 2007 ensured that these questions would never be definitively answered. Whether it was suicide or assassination, his death closed any chance for him to reveal the truth about himself. The disappearance of his memoir manuscript and the lack of transparency in the investigation have added to the mystery and speculation. To this day, no one can be certain whether Marwan was a misunderstood hero or a brilliant traitor. In summary, Marwan's story is not just about a spy, but about a man torn between two worlds, two nations, and two loyalties. His legacy will continue to be a subject of discussion, research, and debate for years to come. Hopefully, declassified documents in the future will shed more light on the life of Angel, helping us better understand the man who lived in the shadows and departed in a fog of mystery.